This is the 16th person that we're going to celebrate tonight and hear their story. And I was doing some math. I figured by the year 2028, we'll get around to everybody, except Mike Mazzaraki, because he should be still making excuses. We'll never get Mike up here. The rest of us, this has been a good occasion. Buddy hasn't been with us a whole lot, but my gosh, he's been busy.
You drafted him, so it's okay.
We did. And anyhow, Buddy's into everything. He's not only handing out rakes and shovels, he hands out the host at communion. He's just a barber.
We pick up the breeze, and every picture in it, he's put in the breeze.
He does travel. He does travel. So, Buddy's got a long story to tell you, so I'm going to get out of the way.
Can everybody hear me, or do I need the microphone?
We got you.
We got you.
Today's reading is from the book of, oh wait, this is not reading rehearsal, what am I thinking about? Carl and Sandra contacted Crystal. I don't know, I didn't take their call or something happened, and they asked if I would do this speech tonight, the pre-eulogy class, or talk. And at first, the emotions really took over, and I'm like, I love talking about myself, of course. Well, then I thought about it for a second, and I said, well, let me think on this one a minute. Is there something going on I'm not aware of? Why do they want me to get me so fast into this? I've only been here for 2 years. So, as thoughts went racing through my head, Crystal's like, well, do you want to do it or do you don't want to do it? I said, I'll do it because I don't know if I'll get another chance. There's a lot of people that haven't heard yet. So, anyway, so I'm here standing in front of you tonight because I agreed to go ahead and do it. And to give you a little bit about, not only myself, but a little bit about Crystal as well. And if you have any questions while I'm going along, don't ask them, just hold them. I'll talk to you later, that kind of stuff. I will flip through some pictures from time to time to give a little bit of a reference to things. So if I get off track a little bit, it's just me. This is not reading rehearsal, as I just said. As we come here together to hear some interesting things about me, I cannot help but reflect on so many Americans that may never have had the benefit of having a pre-eulogy. There are so many. We hear about them in real life, but we never hear from them themselves. Even locals here in Western North Carolina area that did not have the benefit of talking about themselves. There was, yes. Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
Oh, no, I was resting.
Oh. I was like, I haven't even started yet.
No,
You're going to find I get a whole lot more humorous as the night goes on.
And you've had more alcohol.
So drink up.
Yes. There was Daniel Boone, Andy Griffith, Dale Earnhardt, George Vanderbilt, and the list could go on and on.
Nancy McGarry.
I heard
you gave
Nancy.
yours. We heard
No,
you did yours.
I'm from North Carolina.
Well, yes, but you gave your pre-eulogy. These are people who didn't.
Who's running this thing? She's always got to have the last. What I was
I'm talking
going
about famous people in North
Boy.
Carolina.
Tough crowd.
I'm telling you, it is. You're not alone. Let me know if you can see. If you can't see that, I'll turn it a little bit.
See? Yeah.
I even heard a story about a monument and a road not far from here named after a Revolutionary War hero. In fact, I even have heard that my wife Crystal even has heard this story at least once or twice, if not 10 or 20 times or more. That's her and her dad at the monument. Her father is, if you ever ride on the road, the Howard Gap Road. So, see, she's more interesting than I am. I don't know why you didn't ask her. After all these folks were never able to talk about themselves before, and before death, so what a tragedy that their death, that they died without us ever knowing what their accomplishments were from their mouths. I am not going to go on without you knowing what helped shape me, the person you have here in front of you. So over the next hour or two, feel free to relax as we explore the fascinating life and times of Buddy Morrissey.
Thank you, and good night.
This picture is, I'll explain it. Earl, or Buddy, as he is known through these parts, came into the world as many of us do, from above the Mason-Dixon line. Born into a small town in Connecticut, his family seemed to be something of a mafia film instead of a normal, nurturing family. Let's see what that was. We had H.H., the head of the family.
Point him out.
Oh, I have to point people too.
Well, since you can't do it on the computer.
He's there. Chubby,
Oh.
which is his right hand. My grandmother, by the way.
Oh.
He had 3 lieutenants. I'm not going to point him out. He had Benz, Curly, and Nemo. Following Curly down the line, there was Hubby, his right hand. Di, or as Diana, who's 16 years older than I am. Slug, my brother. Mike, 12 years older than I am. And Benny, aka Itch, my sister, Donna, 8 years older than I am. Buddy, we can all guess what I possibly was. A whoops, perhaps? 8 years to 16 years different? I am not sure, and we do not know why my sister Di did not have a nickname either. I did, however, ask my mom about mine, and she referenced the fact they had a favorite dog named Buddy. Well, I do know the top, this item, and we'll save that for another time. Growing up in my family, you had to know sports. We had champions at so many levels in competition. We, of course, revolved around football, baseball, tetherball, shuffleboard, and cup dropping. Does anybody know what cup dropping is? No. It's a fascinating sport. It's great to do, especially when you have nothing else on television. You take Dixie cups and you line them up and you stand. Now your arm has to be at a 90-degree angle and you drop the cup. And how many cups you get in a row is who the winner is. You have 3 rounds of cup dropping. So, all of these big 5 sports of our time, and I hear they even can be seen on ESPN every so often. For Christmas and holidays, these were all part of growing up. And of course, they occurred along throughout our life. Di, aka Di, she was the shuffleboard champion. She even got Nancy Kerrigan by having her knee taken out and swept out from under her while playing a match.
Wow.
She won so many times in Hendersonville, they closed the border in North Carolina to her. FYI, Hendersonville is actually the National Shuffleboard Championship. My sister is now 3rd all-time in shuffleboard. In the Hall of Fame, yes. I'm talking about shuffleboard, yeah.
Cool.
So, yes, with the stick. That's why she got Nancy Kerrigan. Mike and I, football and baseball. Donna was tetherball. My father even built the ice rink to help us learn to skate out in the backyard so we could learn some hockey. I put this up here. I don't know if everybody can read it, but it kind of gives you, kind of sums me up as a whole as a child. It says, Bud, as Earl is known, lives, eats, and breathes football. According to his father, he's liable to tackle you anywhere in the house. Ask Crystal, she'll tell you. I do have a couple other. My father. And we'll leave it there for now. I was demoted to my high school baseball team and worked out that in the gym we were playing softball. Well, not to hold any grudges, as I never do. I hit a ball during that softball game so hard that I actually broke the starting pitcher's jaw. Either we're going to the state tournament and they didn't have it. He did not catch the ball correctly. I'm sorry. He had braces as well. I won't even go into what that was. The coach happened to be the PE teacher at the time as well. He asked me why I did not hit that hard when I was at tryouts. Poor Matt Hegney. He passed away last year, as many of my classmates have. My friend and I also played wiffle ball for so many years. First base was always the first step. Second base, a piece of slate. The brush was third, and home plate was a dirt spot. We played in this side yard like it was Fenway Park. I am sure everyone had that imagination as a kid growing up. Nothing like boots, pants, hats, gloves, etc. Playing by streetlight well into the night in the snow playing football. If you're from the north, you've done that at least once. Finally, while I was in the military, I always played softball. We won many titles, and I was the pitcher for several base championship teams. And back then, I had as many times picked 2, 3, or 4 games straight pitching. One of those things. Funny, I took over pitching after Matt Hegney. That's another story. We also had other quirks in my family. My grandfather would trim his yard the old-fashioned way with a pair of scissors. He would actually get down and cut with a pair of scissors. You're looking at me confused. Did I do that at home? My father enjoyed tailoring. He even sewed my sister's wedding dress by hand, along with many of his Porter Wagoner style suits. The biggest ability we learned about was when my brother showed his ability, now this is slow, to change auto styles. He changed them with plywood, silicone, and resin. He cut the top of his VW camper and built a box so he could stand up inside the VW camper while camping. Guess they didn't have the vehicle inspections back then. It did lead to it. Well, growing up in this family, I had my small share of mishaps before I turned 18. I fell over my bike handlebars and broke my jaw. I broke my wrist on my left hand twice, once during the 8th grade sack race at the last day of school, which was really bad because then you've gone summer vacation. And then the second I did was on the second to last play of the football game. I had, and I knew I had the size of a golf ball as when it broke. The swelling had gone up. Turned over to my dad, who was the coach, and he just said, shake it off and keep playing. We were winning by 33-6. I had 2 touchdowns that day, but hey, it was going to be the last play, so okay, I'll play one more, whatever. My father is still the 3rd winningest coach in Connecticut, and 2nd winningest in percentage. He even holds all the records in football for our school. Not bad since they only played 8 to 10 games back then when he taught. And also that was on real grass with real mud and real dirt. Sports did allow us to be part of the great organization called the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I don't know if anybody knows that group, but it's pretty awesome. We met some great figures back then. We met Tom Landry, Roger Staubach, Bill Curry, Bob Vogel, among many other great athletes. We even had Brooks Robinson, that you dare stay with us for a couple days as he spoke at a rally in our town. I enjoyed many concerts by some of the greats also growing up. I saw the Beach Boys, the real Beach Boys, Kiss, Aerosmith, Peter Frampton, Toto, Wings, the Four Tops, the Four Seasons, Frankie Valli, along with many other concerts that were cheap back then. I also saw some of the new ones too, Billy Joel, Sting, to name a few. I even met Billy Graham at the Crusade right down the way in Columbia while I was stationed there. That was neat. Oh, geez, I'm sorry, I'm way off track. Back to the topic of injuries. I had nose surgery for a broken nose. I had a snowmobile accident. I have a little scar still there. I've had an appendectomy on New Year's Eve, and yes, my parents went to a New Year's Eve dance. It was fine, I'm in the hospital, they could go. They had free babysitting at 10 years old, so they were great. I don't remember much about them being gone anyways, and that was just the beginning. Having injured my knee in college and needing surgery, this moved me from thoughts of college to another way of life. I went on to have 5 more tune-ups, they called them, on my knees before I finally said, let's just replace it. I did odd jobs back then when I was growing up, like so many kids. I mowed lawns, bagged groceries. I worked at a fine men's shop selling clothing. The list is endless. It goes on and on. I would find anything I could do and did.